we use numbers.
No, I'm saying, let's say we share the same type, but there's differences between us. Will we count multiple of that type?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So there's a type called chickenness or whatever, and then there's three individuals that share that same type, and they're different from each other. So there would be three chickens, right?
Yeah, they're different. They're separate from each other. Yeah, they have their own instance of the essence.
I don't know what do you mean instance of the essence?
Okay, so like their
Like they came into
essence,
existence, you mean?
not necessarily. I mean, you could make that point, but the chicken essence is it's divisible, meaning it has multiple instances that are separate, right?
Yeah, just like in your view, the God essence is divisible. It has
No,
multiple
no,
instances that are
God,
separate.
the persons of the Trinity are distinct, not separate.
Okay, the persons on the picture are just distinct.
Yeah, and they're separate as well. So
How are they
that's
separate?
not a
How are they separate?
because they're entirely different beings.
Well, how are they entirely different beings? It's just question begging.
Because they have their own instance of the essence. They're not like
That's just
they
another
don't
way of
share
begging the
they don't
question.
share the qualities of being all powerful or all knowing or anything like that.
What is being all powerful? We're talking about what makes something one, and you're telling me all powerful, all knowing gibberish.
Well,
Why
you're
are these
trying to draw a
chickens?
parallel to the Trinity, and I'm saying
Why
you
are these
can't
multiple chickens?
because I can count multiple chickens. There's three chickens.
Okay, so let's do the same thing now. 1 second. So when you go to church and you see this in the church, how many gods is this?
This is one.
Oh, why? We see differences between each one.
Yeah, but they share the same. The Trinitarian doctrine says they share the same indivisible essence. They're distinct.
Okay, and in essence, is just a what? A set of essential properties?
Yes.
Why are you
Okay,
indivisible?
the chickens share the same set of essential properties that make them a chicken.
Not necessarily. Yes, they share a set of properties, but they have a distinct instance of those properties.
So because they have distinct essential properties as their individual, that's why they're multiple chickens.
Can you repeat that?
Because they have essential properties as not just as what makes them a chicken, but as each individual, they have essential properties as an individual, not just a chicken itself. That's why there's multiple chickens.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time following that. Can you repeat
For
that
example,
one more
me and
time?
you, we both share the human essence. There's one human essence. It's just an essence is just a description over here. It's a set of essential properties, and then we have our own essential properties as our person, right?
Sure.
Is that why we're multiple human beings?
Okay. So with Trinity, I'm just gonna make clarifications for Trinitarian doctrine, then I'm gonna address that.
Forget about the Trinity. I'm just. Would you say that's why we're multiple human beings because we have different properties, although we share the same essence?
Well, we share we have separate instances of that essence.
Okay, and when you say that the persons don't have separate instances, it just seems like it's question begging. Because I can say we don't have separate instances, and all that there is that we're just distinct persons of the one human essence.
One moment. Let me pull up I'm pulling up like a
GPT?
doctrine on the Trinity real quick. No, not GPT actually.
Doctrine of the Trinity is just that
I'm just pulling up like the
are the same God and they're not each other. That's all you're saying. Their persons share the divine essence and they're not each other. Okay, me and you share the human essence and we're not each other. Why wouldn't we be one human? Or just as I'll use Jordan Travis's example, one of the best Trinitarian apologists on the app, everybody. Yesterday he said, if there's the concept of the phone and each individual of the phone was identical to that, then they'd be the same phone. Oh, okay. So if the persons were identical to the essence and they're not, if the persons, if there's God and the persons are all identical to that, then they'd be the same person. Wow. What a genius.
Okay, so the Catholic definition, I'm just going to read the Trinity so we're on the same page. So there's one God, and there's three co-equal, co-eternal, and consubstantial divine persons, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So God is one being, one substance, one essence, existing as three distinct persons, not three separate gods. So they're distinct and not separate.
Okay.
The Father is not the Son is not the Holy Spirit, but all three are God, sharing the same divine essence, glory, and majesty.
I don't know how this is accounting for how we count them, though. That's the problem. Because what it seems like you're telling me is that, yes, Omar, you are counting three gods, but they're not three gods. They're actually one God because they have inseparable operations. They have the same will. They're not bound by time and space, right? But it seems like you're still telling me, yes, we are counting three gods, but they're in reality not three gods. They're one God.
Okay, so I'd like to make a clarification as to the Trinity. So the Trinity says the three persons of the Trinity share one mind, one will, and one power, while each human has his own mind and will.
Yeah, but this inseparable operations thing is discussed in literature. What you're saying is, when you're saying that they're God, you're saying by power/action. But we're talking about the divine nature. If the divine nature is shared amongst three persons, such as the human nature is shared amongst three persons, and they're not identical to each other, then there's three human beings. Just like if the divine nature is shared amongst three persons and they're not each other, then they're three gods.
Okay, I'm going to repeat what I said one more time. So human nature is multiplied across individuals. Like I said, there's multiple instances of human nature. There's many examples of humanity. And this is because each human has his own mind and will. The three persons of the Trinity, they share one mind, one will, and one power because there can only be one instance of God. We both agree that God can only be one essence.
Yeah, but if God's essence is shared amongst multiple persons, then there'd be multiple gods.
No, there wouldn't.
Okay, if there was one divine essence and 30 billion persons, would that be one God?
Yes, because it's one divine essence. The definition of God is the divine essence.
So if there's one human essence and shared amongst 30 billion persons, then there's one human.
No, because I just made the distinction to you. Human nature is across multiple individuals. Each individual has his own instance of it, because each human has his own mind and will. The Godhead shares one mind, one will, and one power. The Godhead is indivisible.
Is the Father a different individual of the Son?
Yes. Well, not different. Okay, they're distinct but not separate.
Okay, I'm distinct and I'm not separate from you.
No, you are separate from me though, because we have our own mind and will.
So the whole mind and will.
So my will is to believe in Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying the will. So once again, what you're telling me.
Hold on. So my will is to believe in Jesus Christ. Your will is to believe in whatever you want to believe in, not Jesus Christ. So we have separate wills, meaning we are separate beings. We are separate. We share the same essence, but multiple instances of that essence.
Don't worry. I'll go with the mind and that thing, even though that has Godhead. Because when we're counting, whether they have the same mind, the same will, all this doesn't matter. What you're saying is that when we count, we are counting multiple gods, but they are one God because they share the same mind, same will. No problem. You said same will.
They're not multiple gods because the definition of God is the divine essence.
Did the Father?
There's one essence.
Did the Father will to incarnate himself?
The Father did not incarnate himself.
Well, I thought they have the same action.
They have this. They have the same mind, will, and power. So the Father willed to incarnate the Son.
Okay. Did the Father uniquely will for himself to
all three persons of the Trinity will to incarnate the Son?
The Father the Father is his own unique hypostasis, right?
Yes.
Did the Father uniquely will himself to incarnate like the Son did?
No, the Father did not incarnate.
Okay. So the whole idea of multiple, the same action and all. Look, I'll give an example. If God created two angels, so there's a type which is angel or whatever, angelness or just angel, and then there's two individuals that God creates within that same type, and God creates them in a way that he creates them simultaneously, number one. They're created at the same time, and they have the same will, which is just to worship him in the same manner at the same time. Would that be one angel or two angels?
Well, we see in the Bible that angels have their own will. So your hypothetical is just
Is
nonsensical.
God capable of doing that?
Yes, but God would never do that.
Okay, so if God is capable of doing it, then there would be one angel?
No, I'm saying God would never do that.
Doesn't
Because
matter.
God
You
gives
just said that he's
God by the
capable.
definition of angel is what is the angels that
But
God
I'm not
creates in
asking
the
if he
Bible.
would. I'm asking if he did do it, would it be one angel?
I'm not going to answer that question because it does not. The definition of angel is the angels that God creates in the Bible, and God creates the angels with their own mind and will, just like humans.
It doesn't matter.
So
Okay, let's say
these,
something
so
else.
so
An angel.
I'm just
the
asking how we
definition.
count.
So
Listen.
an example of angels having their own mind and will
Chris,
is Lucifer falling.
Chris, I want you to
He fell
understand
to his
my
own
point.
pride.
My point is how we count. How we count things is we say, for example, Chris is human and Omar is human, and Omar is not identical to Chris. Therefore, there's two humans. That's the classical way of counting. Now, if we apply that on the Trinity, and we said the Father is God, and the Son is God, and the Son is not identical to the Father, then there's two gods. But you're saying that the
I reject that system. I reject that.
okay. So then, how are you counting?
Okay, I'm gonna repeat this one more time to you. So, yes, the Father is God, the Son is God, and the Holy Spirit is God. They share the same essence. They share the same divine essence.
Chris, I know you're
They
just
are
going
not
off what you're
three
told,
gods.
dude. Look, Chris, I know you're going off what you're
No,
told.
okay. So I'm going to repeat this
said,
again to
just
you.
real
So the
quick, you
definition of
reject
God is the
just,
essence
just
of
Chris,
God.
wait. You said that you reject that system. I just want to be clear. You reject it. Why? Because if we did use that system, there'd be three gods?
I'm rejecting it because you can't apply it to an infinite, all-powerful, all-knowing being.
Oh my God.
Okay, but I'm saying if we did apply it, would there be three gods?
Hold on. So what is this count? What is this counting system you're saying?
That's the classical counting method.
Okay, hold on. Let me search.
Bo Branson.
You already explained what it is. You already explained it. You already explained what it is.
This is just how we count in first order logic, by the way.
Because I'm not well. I don't know what the classical counting method is.
Yeah, Bo Branson, he gave this in his book. It's also in, there's a couple books that talk about like theological essays on the Trinity. And he says, if X is F and Y is F, and X is not identical to Y, then there's two Fs. So if the Father is God and the Son is God, and the Father is not identical to the Son, then there's two gods.
Okay, all right. So you're like, oh, okay. So it's like, okay, like you're counting with arithmetic and like the formula. So like, okay, so like if Jesus is God and the Father is God and Jesus is not the Father, then you're saying there's two gods.
There's two gods, yeah.
Okay. So I'm just reading. I'm looking off like something like a source like an apologetic thing.
Just say what you think.
Well, I don't know. I'm not well versed enough in this classical counting method to.
And by the way,
do
Gregory of
something.
Nyssa took this to be intuitive himself. That's why he gave the example of the three humans and said if we counted the same way in the Trinity, then it would be one human. This is something that's not. It's not just like it's just from me or Frege or anybody else. This is something that is intuitive. It's something that is more robust.
We want to know how do you count? Like we want to know how do you count God? Like how would you count? Because you just repeat the doctrine. We know already what the doctrine of the Trinity is.
Yeah.
You haven't answered how you would count.
I'm giving you something intuitive, and I'm giving you something
Arithmetic, like 1, 2, 3, right? So,
yeah, like 1, 2, 3. Okay, chickens. 1, 2, 3. Why? Because they all share the type of chicken, and they all have different properties from each other, and they'd be multiple chickens. Well, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit share the same type. They have the divine nature, but they have different properties from each other. Therefore, three gods.
okay. I saw someone say special pleading in the comments, like basically saying that like I said that CCM, or this classical counting method, can't apply to God because God is simple and indivisible.
Mm-hmm.
So how would that be special pleading?
Well, don't worry
Like,
about
I
the
wanna-
comments. Don't worry about the comments. Don't worry about the comments.
No,
Yeah,
I want to. Well, I want to address the special pleading claim.
Because this way of counting is universal. It's something that's universally applied. If I give you, for example, there's if I'm saying that obviously when you count God, you want to say that it's unique. You want to say that there exists only one X, such that X is God, right? And if there exists an X that is also God, and they're not each other, then there's two gods. There can only exist one thing that is God.
Wait, Chris, would you say that's intuitive? What he just said?
Like the whole like transitive thing, like if X is Y and like
I
Y
didn't
is
really-
Jesus is
Z.
God
I
and the
didn't
Father is
mention
God,
that
but
yet.
Jesus is not the Father. Would you say that's intuitive?
Yeah, for counting like material things, I'd say yes.
Okay, so let's count something that's not material. Do you know what a proposition is? Like
Sure, like something you're putting forward.
look, it's just something that's either if it's a statement to be true or false.
Yeah,
That's a basic way of understanding it. Okay,
right.
so the statement Jesus is God, the Father is God, and the Holy Spirit is God. God knows this to be true in your view, but there's still three propositions. Why? They're not spatial, they're not temporal, they're not material.
Excuse me?
Each proposition is different from each other, but why? Why is it not one proposition?
Well, because there's three persons.
No, it's because there's discernibility between each one.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, because they're distinct.
Okay. So the idea of it being material or spatial, temporal has nothing to do with how we're counting. Because what you're saying is we are counting three gods, just like we're counting three chickens, but it is one God because God is not spatial and temporal and all this stuff. But we are still counting three gods. When you say is God, is God, is God, and they're not each other, it's three gods. Whether it's spatial, temporal, whether they share the same will, the same mind, all this. By the way, the books themselves on the Trinity in the literature, they address this idea of the inseparable operations, and they admit that it's a failure. They admit the idea of inseparable operations fails.
What is inseparable operations?
Saying that they have the
okay,
same act, they do the same action, and they have the same will. All this is irrelevant to how we count.
Okay.
Because presumably, if the robots were created to just do the same exact thing at the same time, they would not be one robot.
Well, that's kind of impossible because someone will come around to create a robot that has its own or has a different will. So
I'm sorry?
So you're saying like that like comparison. You're saying that
you got look, Christianity's got you saying robots have wills, man.
well, you propose that robots have wills, so I'm going along with your hypothetical.
No, I'm just saying that it's programmed to do the same act as the other one at the same time, but it's not one robot.
Okay. Yeah, and then but there can be other robots like you're failing to see like other nuances in that hypothetical.
Yeah, but
Like,
we're talking about these robots. Look how we're counting. The reason why there's multiple robots is because they have discernible properties. Look, for example, if there's two Chris's, so there's two U's, and one is to the left and one is you have exactly the same properties as the other Chris, same age, same hair color, same eye color, same height, same skin tone, everything. All the wrinkles the same, but the Chris to the left is not the same as the the Chris to the left. There's a Chris to the left and then there's a Chris to the right. Would they be the same Chris?
well, do these Chris's have the same brain, like the same neurons,
brain.
same neural network?
Yep. How many Chris's would there be?
Well, that's logically impossible.
Or what would be the contradiction?
That can't happen. You can't have two of me.
I'm telling you, there's one you to the left and one to the right.
There's only one of me.
No, I would say there's two of you. You know why? Because
That's just illogical. There can't be two of me because I am myself.
I'll tell you why there's two of you. Because there's a spatial distinction between you two. If you guys shared the same space, then it would be one Chris.
So,
For example, two identical red
Chris's
balls.
sharing the same space.
So for example, if there's two red balls and they have the same properties exactly, except one ball is to the left and one ball is to the right. Well, if Tyrone comes to Chris, the left Chris, and Tyrone beats the left Chris to a pulp, the right Chris is not going to be beat up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why there's two Chris's because one is to the left and one is to the right.
Oh. Man, he's just, miskin, it's a miskin.
It's this is what they're forced to.
He's just forcing himself. He was looking up the doctrine of the Trinity. He doesn't even understand the Trinity. Like, it is what it is, man.
It's just
I don't think you'll ever you'll never convince these people.
People just give it lip service. But Chris, presumably, if Tyrone comes to the left Chris and beats the left Chris to a pulp, the right Chris would not be beat up by Tyrone. But
And what is this? What is this all proving?
Well, I'm showing you why there's multiple Chris's because they have a different property than each other.
Something true of Chris
Even
on
though
the left is not true of Chris on the right.
Okay, all right. So you're saying like, okay, so the Chris's, they have the same, they have the exact same molecules, the exact same body, the exact same brain, right?
Yep, but one is to the left and one is to the right. I would say there's still two.
Yeah, and then upon being beaten, the other Chris is changed.
The left Chris would change and the right Chris wouldn't. But there's still two Chris's. So now let's say if the right Chris and the left Chris were in the same exact space, if Tyrone came and beat that Chris up, it would be one Chris, right?
Well, what do you mean two Chris's in the same exact space?
If the left Chris and the right, well, this is just the identity of indiscernibles. If two things share the same, if two things have the same properties, then they're identical. So if the left Chris and the right Chris had the same exact properties, even sharing the same space, then they would just be identical. There would be no discernibility between them.
Well, there wouldn't be two Chris's in the first place.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, it would just be one Chris, right? So if the left Chris and the right Chris merged into onto the same space on top of that, then it would just be one Chris, and Tyrone would have just beat Chris up, right?
I mean, I guess, but I don't see that ever happening.
So you see why we're counting multiple, because they have discernibility and they share the same type? So likewise, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, they share the same type. However, there's discernibility between them. So we're counting multiple gods.
Well, what happens to the Father doesn't always happen to the Son. So, I mean, that's compatible with Trinitarian theology.
Yeah, I know that, and I don't see how that goes, how that helps you when it comes to counting.
Yeah, that's not helping you, bro.
Because all you're saying is that we're counting three gods, but they're one God in reality. Because if we, explain how they have the same operations and they have the same will, then yeah, it's one God. But that's your account of how it's one God. But we are still counting three. And God is not the God of confusion. He would not reveal a religion that's off the face value, polytheistic, because he wants his people to believe.
All right, well, I have to BRB. Like, if you want to invite someone else on, I want to stay and maybe just pick your brains a little more.
No problem.
I'll be right back in like 2 minutes.
No problem. You can stay on the panel. It's cool.
All right, cool.
Let's get Christian Knight up. Christian Knight's been yapping.
Hello, brothers.
Oh, God. I know how this is going to go. Okay. Hello, Christian. What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. You guys are Muslim, right?
Yep.
Okay. Christians prove this is not one chicken. Okay. So, what do you want to say?
Yeah, why would you,
Bro,
why
you
would
have
you
to-
say that this is three chickens? Why?
To the point, man. Are you targeting the Trinity?
No, I'm targeting Vishnu. What do you think, dude? I'm asking Christians, and I'm asking Christians to say this is not one chicken. It's like, come on, man. You're already driving me crazy.
Christian Knight, how many
Three
chickens do you
chickens.
see? How many chickens do you see, Christian Knight? How many chickens?
Three. Three.
Okay,
One in the middle, one on the left, and one on the right.
Okay. Why is it three chickens?
Okay, brothers.
Yeah.
Brothers.
Why is it? You said three.
Just to
Why is it three?
clarify. Okay, just to be clarified, brothers, I'm here to understand your point of view and to help you out with the understanding of Trinity, how we say
brother.
it, and I would request you to be respectful.
I'm
Yeah, we're
chilling.
respectful.
No worries. Don't worry. We're
Fact.
chilling, man.
Yeah.
Okay, Christian.
Okay.
Why are these three chickens?
Because
I only see one.
there are
Christian, I
three
only see one
chickens.
chicken. I don't see three chickens. I see one chicken. How many chickens do you see?
Then you're a colorblind man.
Colorblind?
Colorblind?
Oh, okay. Hold on. He said colorblind. Okay. Okay. Hold on. In this picture, okay. If you go to the church and you see the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit in a representation, are you colorblind?
No.
How many gods is
We are
that?
very clear.
How many gods is in the
One.
picture? Wait. Are you
One.
colorblind?
No.
Do they have different colors? You're baked. Do they have different colors?
No.
No.
Wait,
So you're colorblind?
Well, to be fair, that's an artistic rendition. Like, the Father obviously can't incarnate, so
Wait. The Father can't incarnate.
no.
Then by your logic, they have.
The Father can incarnate, but he hasn't ever.
Wait, but if the
Oh,
Father
so
does
he
incarnate,
can.
would that be three gods?
No, I'm just saying the artistic rendition is a little inaccurate.
Can the Son ever be the God of the Father?
No, the Son can't be God the Father.
And the reason why the Son has a God is because the Father, he's the God of all flesh, and the Son incarnated, therefore he would be his God, right?
Well, what would you define as God?
Dude, you know what God means.
No, I mean, what do you like?
The supreme being.
So, okay, yeah. So the Father had
So why is the Father the God of the Son? Because the Father is the God of all flesh, correct? And the Son was incarnate, and he was flesh, right?
Yeah. Why'd you kick that guy off?
Because he's not serious. This guy said that they have different colors to the chickens, and,
No,
and he said it's three chickens because I see different colors, and then I showed him the picture
I
of
said
the
I
Father,
only
Son, Holy
see one
Spirit.
color. I said I only see one chicken. He said, yeah, you're colorblind.
Yeah, he said you're colorblind, and I'm like, okay, how many gods do you see? And then he's like, oh, they have. He said it's one, and they have the same color. So you're not serious. So the Father is the God of all flesh, and the reason why the Father is the God of the Son is because the Son was incarnate and he was flesh. So the Father would be the God of the Son. Now, if the Son did not incarnate and the Father incarnated and he was flesh, would the Son be the God of the Father?
Well, the entire point of God the Son is that he did incarnate. So like I don't
But they all have the
like-
same power, right? There's a possible world in which the Son could have incarnated and the Father didn't, right?
Well, the Son did incarnate.
I mean, the Father
didn't.
could have incarnated and the Son didn't, right?
I mean, well, the entire point of God the Son is that he's the Son of Man. That's why he's called God
I know,
the Son.
Chris, but we're saying your point earlier was about inseparable operations, that they have the same action, the same will, and so on and so forth. Well, the problem that you just did is, and they have the same power. Well, if they have the same power, then they should be able to incarnate. That's what Aquinas says. You're a Catholic. Aquinas believes that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit could all incarnate. They have the ability to do so. So if hypothetically the Son didn't incarnate and the Father did, then the Son would be the God of the Father.
Well, if you're talking in like relation, yeah, because the Father would have humbled himself into a hypostatic union between between a human nature, like a fully human nature and a fully divine nature. So yes,
But I'm just going by your logic. You said that the Son can't be the God of the Father.
well, yeah, as we know it, because in this reality, like
Then you can't say can't. They just say is. You can't say can't.
okay, then yeah, okay, I concede with that. My wording is a bit off.
So let's get back to the counting.
I'm not a theologian. I just like
No worries.
exploring other viewpoints.
No worries. I think I know what your point is now. You didn't mean that they don't have.
Yes.
He doesn't have the ability. Okay, so let's get back to the counting. What I was saying earlier is that there's a type that something shares, and there's discernibility between them. I gave the example of you and the left Chris and the right Chris, and you guys have a spatial distinction. Now, when we apply that same counting method on God, there's three gods because they share the same type, and there's discernibility between each one. Now, if you want to say there's one God, you have to find a different way of counting.
And what is this argument called again?
I mean, this is just the classical way of counting. I mean, if you want to know the argument generally,
the two
LP2.
identical
it's the logical problem of the Trinity.
side to side. What's that?
Oh, that one. No, that's just something that I thought of. It's just an example that Max Black gives because I don't know if you've ever heard of like Leibniz's law, but Max Black tried to criticize it. I've heard. He tried to criticize the identity of indiscernibles with the two red spheres, but he got baked because there is a difference between them. Because if you kick the left one, the right one wouldn't be kicked. So there is discernibility between one sphere and the other. So there is two spheres, not one sphere. Just like there's discernibility between each person, so there would be three gods, not one God. And whether you hold to the Thomistic view, or whether you hold to the Oriental Orthodox view or the Eastern Orthodox, whatever view you may hold, it doesn't matter. Whether you hold to relative identity, you're counting three gods, but by introducing all this other stuff, you're going to say it's one God. That's what you're going to say. On the surface value, on face value, God is revealing a religion that's just prima facie polytheistic.